followed by the sound of things breaking and sometimes the sound of her mother crying. Titi was only 10 years old, but she knew something was terribly wrong. Titi, the girl with a broken smile. Once upon a time, in the small but vibrant village of Amonka, there lived a young girl named Titilope. Titi, as she was affectionately called by everyone who knew her. From the outside, Titi's life seemed perfect. She was beautiful, with skin as smooth as freshly pounded yam, and eyes that sparkled like the stars over the quiet village nights. Wherever she went, people marveled at her smile. A smile that seemed capable of warming even the coldest hearts. But behind her smile was a story no one knew, not even her closest friends. In Amonka, Titi's parents, Bamidele and Ireti, were regarded as one of the wealthiest and most influential families. Mr. Bamidele, a successful trader, was known for his generosity. Every December, the Bamidele family would host grand events where they distributed food, clothing, and tools to villagers, helping families in need and solidifying their status as pillars of the community. To the outside world, the Bamidele family seemed to be the very definition of perfection. A power couple, loved and admired by all. Yet, behind the doors of their grand house, the truth was far different. Inside, Mr. Bamidele was a different man, a man consumed by anger and frustration. For years, he had taken out his frustration on his wife, Ireti, in ways that no one in the village could have imagined. Words like daggers flew from his mouth, cutting her down with insults, calling her worthless, blaming her for every hardship that had befallen him since their marriage. But it wasn't just words. The emotional scars soon became physical. On far too many nights, Titi heard the sound of her father's voice raised in anger, followed by the sound of things breaking and sometimes the sound of her mother crying. Titi was only 10 years old, but she knew something was terribly wrong. She watched her mother try to cover up the bruises with makeup and fake smiles, pretending everything was fine. Titi had grown up knowing that her father was angry, but she never understood why he directed all his rage toward her mother. The girl was confused, scared, and trapped in a world she could not explain. Her friends couldn't understand. When Titi tried to tell them about what was happening at home, they simply laughed and dismissed her words. "You are so lucky," they would say. "Your parents are rich and they love each other. What do you have to complain about?" And so, Titi learned to keep her pain to herself. She stopped confiding in her friends and instead began to wear a mask, smiling brightly in public, while crying herself to sleep at night. One Saturday morning, things changed. Titi's grandmother, Grandma B, arrived at the Bamidele house unannounced. Grandma B was a wise old woman with deep wrinkles carved by time and experience, but her eyes still shone with the sharpness of someone who had seen it all. Titi loved her grandmother dearly. She was the one person who made her feel safe. "Ah, Mama, welcome." Ireti greeted her mother at the door, hastily adjusting the scarf around her head to hide the makeup she had used to cover a bruise. "Do I need to call before visiting my own daughter's house?" Grandma B replied, waving off Ireti's greeting as if it were an unnecessary formality. "But I noticed something was off when I arrived." Titi had tears in her eyes. "What is wrong?" Ireti quickly lied, brushing it off. "Oh, Titi was just upset because I didn't give her biscuits." Grandma B looked at Titi, then at her daughter. There was a long silence, as if she knew something was not right, but didn't press the issue. Instead, she reached into her bag and handed Titi a biscuit, smiling. "Here, my child, don't mind your mother." Titi took the biscuits and forced a smile, but her heart was heavy. She could tell her grandmother sensed the tension in the house, but no one dared to speak the truth. That evening, our father came out of his room, pretending everything was fine. He greeted Grandma B warmly, pretending to be the perfect husband. Dinner was served, and once again, they all played their parts in the charade of a happy family. But Titi knew better. She watched her parents closely, feeling the undercurrents of hostility that simmered just beneath the surface. After a week of settling in, Grandma B called Ireti and Bamidele for a serious discussion. She had come to the village with a purpose, and now was the time to reveal it. "I want to take Titilope with me to the city," Grandma B said calmly. "She can study in a good school there, and it will be better for her future." Ireti's heart leaped. She had been praying for a way to get Titi away from the toxic environment of their home. "Yes, Mama, that's a wonderful idea," she exclaimed, hope flickering in her eyes, for the first time in a long while. But Bamidele's face darkened. "No," he said firmly. "Titi will finish her studies here, in this village. She will help the villagers just as we have." Ireti's heart sank. She knew that Bamidele's refusal was not just about Titi's education. He wanted control. He wanted to keep them both trapped in his world. She tried to reason with him, explaining that sending Titi to the city would open doors for her, give her a better future. But Bamidele was unyielding. If you have enjoyed the story so far, remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel. This goes a long way in helping us bring you more beautiful stories like this one. Thank you. For days, Ireti begged him, promising that sending Titi away didn't mean abandoning their family. She knew that if Titi stayed, she would be damaged by the same toxicity that had consumed their marriage. Finally, after days of pleading, Bamidele relented. The preparations were made, and soon Titi found herself on a bus with her grandmother, heading to the city. As the village disappeared in the distance, Titi felt a mixture of fear and relief. She glanced at her mother, who stood at the bus stop, waving and wiping away tears. Deep down, Titi knew her mother was crying not only for her departure but for the life she herself was trapped in. The city was unlike anything Titi had ever seen. Tall buildings stretched towards the sky, and the streets buzzed with life. It was overwhelming at first, but soon Titi began to settle into a new life. She started attending a prestigious school where the other students came from wealthy families just like hers. But even though her surroundings had changed, Titi couldn't escape the emotional scars left by her father. She became withdrawn, unable to trust others, especially boys. By the time Titi was in SS3, she had built walls around her heart. She had seen too much in her childhood, witnessed too much pain. She told herself that she would never allow any man to hurt her the way her father had hurt her mother. Her hatred for men ran deep, and she vowed that she would never marry, never fall in love. One day, a boy named Kunle approached her. He had admired Titi for a long time and finally worked up the courage to ask her out. But Titi turned him down coldly, her voice sharp with bitterness. "I don't have time for boys," she said. "They are all the same, selfish, cruel, and not worth my time." Kunle was taken aback, but Titi's words were final. She had no interest in romance, no interest in opening her heart to anyone. But life has a way of surprising us, even when we think we've closed ourselves off completely. A few months later, Titi met Tunde. He was different from any boy she had ever known. Kind, patient, and gentle. He didn't pressure her or try to win her over with grand gestures. Instead, he simply listened. He listened to her fears, her pain, and her dreams. Slowly, Titi found herself drawn to him in ways she had never expected. At first, she resisted. She told herself that she couldn't fall in love and that she wouldn't allow herself to be vulnerable. But Tunde was patient. He didn't try to break down her walls. He simply waited for her to open the door. And one day she did. Titi realized that not all men were like her father. In Tunde, she found the love and respect she had never seen in her parents' marriage. He taught her that love didn't have to hurt, that it could be gentle and healing. As they grew closer, Titi learned to trust again, and in time, she discovered that the walls she had built around her heart were not as impenetrable as she had thought. She had sworn she would never love, but life had other plans. And in Tunde's arms, she found the courage to believe in love once more. Titi's journey had been long and painful, but in the end, she learned that while her past had shaped her, it did not have to define her future. In the city, far from the shadows of her childhood, Titi found herself, and in Tunde, she found the love she never thought possible. The end. We hope you enjoyed the story you just watched. Please subscribe to our channel and like this video, as it helps us create more videos like this for you to enjoy. Thank you.